To the top right in red, we have the Afro Toss. It is for SKT1.
SK Telecom T1, paralyze.
He looked a little bit paralyzed in game 1 by his opponent.
Yeah, definitely so. Couldn't really move or breathe there.
Talking about the Zerg player that he's facing in this best of 3 series, we have him to the bottom left of Red City with a 1-0 lead in the series.
SK Telecom T1 Su.
Another thing to mention about the last game is that Paralyze scouted very late the mutas and then went into double Stargate, delayed after accidentally making 2 double robotic support bases. So you could see his build was not, you know, exactly how he wanted it to be, and I think that kind of allowed Su to get some advantages there early as well. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that if you get nervous or you're playing against a teammate and you start to mess these things up, it can really hurt you.
Yeah, the build was a little bit awkward at starts. Now what we have is once again the Forge first opening for Paralyze. So he's not following the trend that we see these days where you get the pilot in the main base, go into the gateway. We have a standard, a very traditional opening for him. And also Su not cutting any corners here. So many Zerg players these days are trying to get away with a hatch first because they expect this opening with the gateway, but not so Su. He's going straight into pool and then into hatch.
Yeah, and as a result, this is really, really annoying for Paralyze, who not only goes for Forge instead of a Nexus, which delays his expansion, he also has 2 probes out on the map that lose him mining time instead of 1. So he is going to block here, which, when you've committed this much to a Forge, I really like the choice to block at this point, but it's still not ideal for Paralyze right now. Sees the second drone, he's going to go block the 3rd hatch as well.
And that's always annoying as a Zerg player. If your base is this much delayed, it's really, really messing with your timings. And that's what we see here. The pilot not cancelled at the natural, and the probe still harassing here at the 3rd, trying to delay it for as long as possible. And that works very well for him so far.
Definitely worth it. And he can start the pylon at the 3rd base late, and he'll definitely cancel this one.
Oh wow, the pylon after the Nexus in the main base. This is brutal now.
He knows that they're cross spawns, so he can probably still get the cannon up in time for the Lings if that occurs, so he can just spend these resources. I really like it. I think he will cancel the 3rd base pylon.
As the Zerg, you cannot really run across the map in this situation because it's just, how are you doing this? It's not working. I mean, you need the space. And he is still messing at the 3rd. He cancelled the pylon at the 3rd, but he's still blocked with the probe. So now we have the expansion going up at roughly the 4-minute mark when you would usually get your 3rd base already.
Yeah, super delayed here. And this also delays his queen production. You know, for newer players, it's hard to stress enough exactly how much this messes up a Zerg player's build, but they lose larva, they lose the creep spread, they lose the queen production. It's absolutely important. It'd be like delaying your first gateway as a Protoss or something like that against a Terran.
The production alone, that's what's really lacking here. You don't get the 2nd queen, you don't have the lava, and then you will fall behind in the harvesters. So this is a really good position here for Paralyze. A great start into the game for the Protoss.
Now triple gas mining here. We'll see if he pulls out after he starts speed. Most likely the case in this matchup. Double Forge, is this a mistake? Or is he actually going to go into 2 Forges?
I don't really... I mean, that has to be...
Wait, Color, he doesn't have a core.
He doesn't have a cybernetics core.
Yeah, he doesn't have a core. This is a mistake. Is he getting nervous?
How can you make that mistake?
This is really weird.
Please, that has to be on purpose. I mean, that's like the weirdest mistake that you can actually make.
That's like weirder than starting hallucination instead of worth get research or something. Oh, I think he sees it with a probe now, and he's like, he just clicked on it. He's like, oh no.
He messed that up.
Oh,
he doesn't use the Forge at all, and at first I really thought he already had a core and was going into a weird, super greedy build where he goes for double upgrades, but how can you mess this up?
Well, I guess now he's probably going to go double upgrades or something.
This is like forgetting your warp gate.
Yeah, it's even worse. He starts 1, and he has enough gas to start 2 if he wants to. And this is scouted by Su, so Su's like, what? And he actually just starts a bunch of speedlings. I think he might just try to go for a speedling attack because he knows there's not going to be any sentries out.
I can promise you one thing. If that was QXC in the booth, we would have seen a broken keyboard.
Yeah. I promise one thing, if we saw Idra in the booth, it would be a GG right now. There's the Stargate. He does not go double upgrade.
This is going to be very
He's got no sentry. He starts a Stalker. He's so dead. He is dead, man. He's got nothing here.
There are so many Zerglings coming his way, and he sees it. He sees the Lings, and the speed is coming up. More and more Zerglings are on the way, and there is just no way for him to get anything out there.
Yeah, he's trying to make a pylon on the high ground to help maybe cannon. He doesn't even start a second cannon.
Exactly.
Is he crazy?
Don't see a second cannon? Why?
He doesn't even wall the ramp. He doesn't even wall the ramp.
What is this?
Oh, that's game over. Game over, man.
He must have broken his keyboard. Like, seriously, that's the only explanation why he didn't react to this.
This is pretty nuts.
Okay, this was just bad.
GG. Although I don't know if I would say that about this game.
That was definitely not a good game.
Let's see a camera shot of Paralyze right now.
What did we just see? I mean, the Forge alone, a big mistake. That's one of those things that happens once in 1,000 games, and you look at it and it's like, okay, well, it just happens, but whatever.
What is going on? Why is he doing that? Like, he's just, I guess he's frustrated, or he's like one of those guys who gets mad but then like pretends to be happy. I don't know.
I mean, is the guy high? He acts like he won the series. What just happened?
I would love to speak to him. In fact, if I get a chance to, I think I will.
That must have been some kind of internal team banter that they have going on. But let's go through this game once again for just a second. So,
yeah.
For the first thing we see is a double forge, which already doesn't make sense. And it's one of those mistakes that you make once in 1,000 games. You just miss the hotkey, and then you see it. Okay. But then he scouts the Zerglings.
Yeah, like he sees like 8. He doesn't see the ones on the right side, but even seeing the 8 is like, it's a tell. Why would he have 8 Zerglings coming towards his base?
Doesn't get a sentry, goes into the stalkers, and never even bothers to wall completely with a probe, for example.
Or a pylon or anything. And he started a stalker.
Where's the second cannon?
And the thing is, he knows that Su saw that he has a late core, so Su is actually, he makes a smart choice. He's like, oh, your core's late, you made a mistake, and I'm just going to make feelings because you won't have a sentry in time. He could have maybe gotten a sentry out and held there. He would have still been in an awkward position, but that was weird.
If there is suddenly double cannon or even triple cannon and you have the first sentry, you block with another probe or you wall off completely, those Zerglings won't do anything. We didn't have a Baneling Nest.
No.
Unless I didn't see it on the
no Baneling Nest, man.
Sure. So if he looks at the game and is like, okay, I'm going to get a Baneling Nest and I'm going to Baneling bust you, that much I can perfectly understand because there's no way that you get enough sentries in time without warp gate research. You can maybe get one, but without a Baneling Nest, those Zerglings, if there are 2 or 3 cannons, will never get through the wall.
Yeah.
So that game was like very off.
Definitely really weird.
And then the... Do you call it a celebration? I don't really know.
I don't know, man. I mean, everybody deals with the loss differently, especially like something that embarrassing. You know, there's the guy who like trips
just flips.
and he like plays it off cool. He just like hits up, and then other people are like, I'm so clumsy. You know, I feel like that was the, I'm so clumsy. I just tripped. Like,
he was jumping on stage and... I don't know.
I just don't know.
Whatever happened there, we had the Protoss player starting with a double Robotic Spay in game number 1, a double Forge in game number 2. Didn't work out, so the meta game is definitely shifting a little bit, but not very successfully for the Protoss player. Su advances to Kodes, and we are heading into our third best of 3 of the day after a 5-minute break. See you guys in a few with Byung versus